about trust. And we're going to talk more about trust in a few minutes about why trust is so important. Now, today, we're also going to talk about a man who lived a long time ago. I'm sure you guys probably go to church, right?
Yeah.
Yes, good, good. So, this guy was named Jesus. And Jesus is a man who did many miracles, a man who healed people, a man who loved everyone and loves everyone. And he is also the what does that say? Let me read my handwriting. The Lord. Yep. He is the Lord. So we're going to come back to that word, so remember it throughout the lesson. All right. So some of you may have heard this story before, some of you may haven't, so just bear with me. What happened was Jesus and his disciples would travel around and Jesus would heal people, and he would provide for them, and he would teach them. Well, Jesus did that a lot. So he decided with his disciples to get away for a while. They got in a boat and went across the ocean. Well, the Sea of Galilee, actually. But what happened was, just as they were getting settled into a new place and getting ready to rest for a while, somebody showed up. Make that about a lot of people. How many people do you think showed up? A lot. A lot of people started showing up because everyone knew that Jesus did a lot of things for people. So I don't think that it was only a couple of people who showed up here. People were desperate. People wanted to be healed. People wanted to see Jesus do these miracles that they've heard about and stuff. So it wasn't just five. It wasn't even 500. I heard someone say 500, but not quite. Well, not that many. 5,000. But it was 5,000 men plus women and children. So really, it was probably more like 8,000 to 9,000 people. And they were all coming to Jesus because many people had sick among them and they needed to be healed and stuff. And Jesus healed all of them. And that's just the compassion that Jesus had. And the disciples are all worn out. Their reaction, I imagine, probably was like, we travel all this way to take a break. And as soon as we try to take a break, now these guys show up. Right? Now, Jesus' reaction was not throwing his arms up in the air, saying, ugh. It was to heal the people. He actually took time to heal the people. He did that until it was dark. And by this time, the disciples said to Jesus, look, these people are hungry, they're tired. Send them away so that they can get some rest and they can go home. And you know what Jesus said to them? He said, you give them something to eat. Now, bear in mind, a lot of these guys are fishermen. It's not exactly a big profitable business. It was back then, it was a profession that some poor people took up. So a lot of these guys didn't have that much money. And where's how are we going to get that? And then there was a little boy who showed up. And he offered his stuff to the disciples and said, help feed these people. Even though it was only like 5 loaves and 2 fishes, but it's not 5,000 people, but it's a nice thought, right? So anyhow, so they brought these 5 loaves and 2 fishes to Jesus and said, well, we have 5 loaves and 2 fishes from this boy, but what is that for so many? And you know what Jesus did? Jesus multiplied the bread and the loaves, and he gave and everyone had some enough to fill them up, and there was still some left over. That's called a miracle, because no one can do miracles except God. Except the Lord. Good job. Yes. Jesus is powerful, and he can do anything. So what happened was, so he does all of this to the people, and the people eventually do go home after a while. And so Jesus sends his disciples out to sea, and he decides to go up on this mountain and pray. He decides to go up to the mountain and pray while disciples go out to sea. Now, some of these guys were fishermen and knew the sea, but this was an unusual night because there was a big storm that was at sea. And what happened was, there was a big storm, there were some waves that came up, these guys who were normally very used to the sea were terrified. The wind was howling, and they were actually in the sea longer than it would normally take them. Guess how long they were on the sea? They left at night. I'm imagining it was about 11 in the evening. They were on the sea until like 3 in the morning. Shouldn't take them long to get across the sea. So, in a boat where a lot of them are rowing. But they couldn't fight against this wind and against these waves. I mean, the wind was howling, and the boat was going back and forth. I mean, they were probably getting seasick, and their hair's flying. I mean, they just couldn't get anywhere, right? So what happened was, now, on top of all that, they can't go, they're stuck in the sea, the waves are roaring, their hair is flying everywhere, they can't move, and all of a sudden, they see this. This will top everything off, right? Seems like a pretty bad night. And what was happening was, they saw this guy on the ocean. Everybody goes, ooh. Ooh. Well, and that's what they thought. They said, a ghost, a ghost. And he was on the ocean, and this guy came closer and closer, and he said, it is I. Don't be afraid. And they knew it was Jesus, the Lord. Good job, guys. And what happened was, Peter, who was one of the guys in the boat, said, Lord, if it's really you, command me to come out on the water. And what did Jesus say? He said, I need a water bottle.
Okay.
There we are. Come. He told him to come. And so Peter came. Peter came, and he's walking towards Jesus. And guess what starts happening? He was walking on the water. And you know that Peter is only the second human being to do that? Jesus was the first, and Peter was the second. So actually, we've had 2 human beings to walk on the water. It's pretty cool, right? Well, Peter walked on the water, but then Peter kind of looked aside and saw the wind and the thunder and the lightning and the waves. And guess what? Peter, he trusted in the Lord, but when he started looking at the thunder and the lightning and the storm, guess what happened? Guess what started happening to him? Right, he started sinking. And guess what he said? Yeah, if you're drowning, what would you say? Someone help me, right? Lord, save me. He was saying, Lord, save me. And as soon as Jesus saw Peter in the water, drowning and flailing around like that, he reached out his hand and he said, it's like, why did you have so little faith? Because Peter wasn't what? He wasn't trusting. Good job. He wasn't trusting. So what happened was, so they got back in the boat safely together, and the wind became calm. So what happened was, Jesus went on to do many miracles. The Bible only records a few. But there's actually a lot of works that Jesus did. But Jesus didn't just come to do neat miracles and help people. Jesus came to do something even bigger. Because we have a big problem, right? We have a problem. That problem is called, good job, wow. Or by doing the stuff that we might think, hey, maybe if I do this, maybe God will forget. If I do this, maybe God will say, hey, come on into my heaven, or I welcome you. So how many of you have ever lied before? How many? And what do you call a person who lies? Liar. How many of you have ever stolen anything, even if it was something small? Like even if you were like maybe a kid or younger, like 4, and you stole your mom's. I'm sorry. Right, exactly. Yeah, even if it's something small. That counts. What do you call a person who steals? A thief. And you know the Bible also talks about honoring your father and mother, even if you don't feel like it? Yes. And what about, some of you have already stolen, so that also means that you've coveted, because coveted is like thinking about stealing. It's thinking about wanting what someone has and saying, I gotta have it, so then you take it. So that's a few of the commandments that I've gone through, and a lot of us have broken all those commandments. Actually, all of us have, because we're sinful people, and we have sin in our hearts. And God doesn't want us to have sin in our hearts. He doesn't want us to be sinful, and yet we keep on doing it. Yet we keep on rebelling against Him because of our attitudes, because of our disobedience to Him, to parents, and to others, right? Well, Jesus wants us to have a clean heart. He wants us to be cleansed. He wants us to be brought back to Him. Not to have a heart of sin, but to have a heart that has been forgiven. A heart that knows who Jesus is, and a heart that trusts in Him. So, how about this? Jesus died on the cross for our sins. And He bore our sins. Now that means, it's a pretty deep saying in the Bible, that Jesus became sin for us. That's a pretty deep saying. How could God, who is holy, who is the Lord, how can He become sin? How can He do this and become sin and His Father reject Him? It's kind of a mysterious thing, but we know that God loves us so much that He didn't want us to die in our sins. He wants us all to have a relationship with Him and to obey Him and to have hearts that are like His. That's what He wants. So Jesus died a very horrific death. He was nailed to a cross. He was nailed to a cross, and He also died for our sins, and His love was shed for us. So that's how much Jesus loves us. When Jesus said, greater love of no man than this, that a man laid down his life for his friends. And that's what Jesus did for us. He laid down His life. Because God loved the world so very much. So what happened was, Jesus was buried. But because Jesus is God, He couldn't stay dead. This tomb was rolled away by the power of God. And Jesus rose from the dead, defeating death, proving that He is God. If He is God, what does that tell us? That means that all this stuff is real. It tells us that this stuff is real, that when Jesus says come, He means it. And if we have sin in our hearts, we got to do something about it. And Jesus really did die for our sins. So I've been talking about the importance of trusting, the importance of putting your faith in Jesus Christ. But not only trust, you also have to... Can you read that? Turn. Good job. Can you over here see it? Yeah, turn. Good. Yes, trust and turn. And I'll explain that to you guys. It's not just trusting, because a lot of people have said, gone up to the altar where the pastor is, and said, Lord, I'm sorry for my sin. And some people, God really has changed them that way, but some people were just saying it because their parents